It's time to overcome all the temptations, man. It's time. Like it's time to stop letting them temptations win us over. They're always gonna be there. They're nothing that's just gonna go away out of nowhere. Like temptations are always gonna be there for the rest of your life. Whether it be lust, whether it be laziness, whether it be distractions, shortcuts, like literally any temptation in the world, it's always gonna be there. Like you're never gonna be able to fully get rid of them. But the question is, like, will you control them or will you let the temptations control you? We got to start controlling the temptations. We got to start fighting them and trying to overcome them in every way possible. We can't let the temptations overcome us. Like they're always going to be there, yeah, but it's about what you do when they come. Do you give in or do you run to God? Do you give in or do you flee the temptations? Because temptations are a test, bro. Like every temptation comes with its own opportunity. Either you fail or you get stronger. Either for you to take a step back or to take a step forward. Like the way you respond to the temptations, the way you go about these temptations in everyday life is what shapes your future. Yeah, you might see this girl on Instagram. You might be tempted to get at her or whatever, but is that helping you take a step forward? Or is that you falling into that lust factor? Yeah, that bed might feel good all day, but is that helping you get better? Or is that helping you fall into that laziness, temptation? Distractions on social media, shortcuts to just get money fast or get success fast. Like those are the temptations that a lot of people deal with on an everyday basis, but every time they're a test. Like you got to get up and flee from that temptation the best way you can. And you also got to spend time with yourself to realize, the weak spots. Like why do you get tempted? How do you get tempted? Like you can't fight what you won't admit. I'm gonna just be honest, bro. When I was battling lust, I wasn't able to flee from that until I admitted myself like it was a problem. Until I admitted that lust was kind of controlling me, that temptation, the lust was controlling me, and I wasn't in control of it. What I'm saying? I wasn't able to flee from that. Like you got to get honest with yourself about what tempts you. You got to be honest with yourself about the things that you might be going through so you can plan for it instead of just acting like it's not there. Instead of pretending like it's not a problem, because every time you try to pretend and every time you try to let it take the back seat is when it just starts to control you even more. Like you got to admit and you got to find out and try to figure out what your weak spots are. Like what are you really tempted to do? What temptations are controlling you? Like spend time with yourself, reflect on it, admit those things and try and figure out a plan that helps you flee from them. Try and figure out a plan that helps you overcome them. And it's not even just about resisting these temptations, it's about replacing them also. What I'm saying? You can't flee from temptation and you can't beat temptation by doing absolutely nothing. Like, yeah, you might tell yourself, like, I'm not doing that no more. Like, I'm done doing that with my life. But you got to replace that with something positive. If you remove something toxic, fill that space with purpose, fill that time with purpose, prayer, work, something meaningful that helps you go in the right direction, that helps you flee from that temptation. I'm saying? Replace it. You can't just resist it, because when you try to resist it and when you try to fight it is when the temptation wins you over. Like I always say, bro, God tells us, I'm just going to use this as an example, but God tells us to flee from lust. He doesn't tell us to fight it. He doesn't tell us to try to resist it. He tells us to flee from it, because when we try to resist it and when we try to fight it, that's a battle that we can't win alone. That's a battle that we can't live or not live, but we can't win by ourselves. I'm saying? We got to replace it with God. We got to replace it with prayer. We got to replace it with being pure. I'm saying? So you can't beat temptation by doing nothing. You got to replace it with purpose, with prayer, with work, with something that is meaningful to you in your life, is meaningful to your relationship with God. Like replace these things, these negative things and these negative temptations with something positive, And you also got to let your discipline kick in over your impulse. Like the easy path is to just fall in these temptations. The easy path is to just feel good for that moment when you let that temptation win. But long term, bro, like your discipline has to win over your impulse. Your discipline has to win over that instant validation. That discipline has to win over that instant gratification or that temporary, dopamine and good feeling, that temporary pleasure. Like don't let the temporary pleasure win you over. Because at the end of the day, that's only temporary. That good feeling is only gonna be there for that moment. After that wears off, bro, you're gonna think about yourself like, why did I do this? Why did I fall into that? Why did I let this temptation win me over? So let your discipline kick in. Your discipline of knowing that, yeah, that temptation might be there. Yeah, I might feel like doing this or doing that, but I can't. Like, that's not me anymore. That's something that I'm trying to flee from. That's something that I'm trying to replace. But you can't do all this alone. Like, you gotta rely on God's strength. You gotta rely on God. Like, you cannot rely on yourself. Like I said, God tells us to flee from lust or temptations because we can't fight them alone. We can't win that battle by ourselves. In 1 Corinthians 10:13, it says, God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. He will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. God is not going to bring us any temptation in our life that we can't flee from. You know what I'm saying? That we can't overcome. He's going to provide a way out every single time. And God is that way out every time. Not yourself, not the world, not resistance, not fighting it. God is the way out every single time. He's the way that he's providing so that you can endure the temptation, so that you can flee from the temptation, so that you can overcome the temptation. So why not rely on God's strength? Why not rely on the things that God can do for you? Like, every time a temptation shows up, bro, go pray. Go ask God to help relieve you from that temptation. Go ask God to help you flee from that. Like, ask him to rebuke it in the name of Jesus. Like, God is the way. That's the way that he provides for you to endure it. Like, he's not going to send you a temptation more than what you can bear, but he wants to just see what you're going to do when that comes. He wants to see when that temptation comes in your life, are you going to run to him or are you going to try to fight it alone? Like, we can't do anything alone. We can't fight anything alone. We got to rely on God's strength. Like, you're not going to be able to stop temptations from showing up. You're not going to be able to just get rid of him your whole life, but you can choose not to let them control you. You can choose not to let the temptations win. Like, every time you flee from that temptation, every time you win that battle, you become stronger than that temptation trying to break you. Every single time you become stronger. So it's time for us to start fleeing from these things, start overcoming these things every single day, and just rely on God's will, rely on God's power. Stop trying to fight these things alone. Stop trying to flee from these things alone, and rely on God, because he's that way out to flee from them temptations. But that'll be all for this video, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. If you like this video, go hit that sub button. We're on the way to 500 subs. Appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I'll see y'all in the next one.